The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded.
Keeping. Nem egy egyszerű játék, az biztos. Elég bonyolult. Ezen kell gondolkodni, igen. Megint gondolom ki kell
Good
kérni.
gracious, you caught someone. At least now you have a suspect. Good gracious, you caught someone.
Brave Toby. The best nose in the British Empire.
Nem? Oké, akkor egyeget se. Pardon. Be kell öltözni gondolom. Kicsit átöltöztem.
Good gracious, you caught someone. At least now you have a suspect.
Menjünk vissza a rendőrségre. What? És akkor újból kérdezik valaki a ember. Majd megfejtjük itt a bizonyítékokat.
These are the suspect's belongings. These abbreviations mean something. But what?
Az baj, nem lehet, nem.
These abbreviations mean something. But what?
Közben nem lehet lapozni.
What am I doing here? I've done nothing. What am I doing here? I've done.
Községgyilkosság helyszínén lesz válasz. Kell valami, ez szerintem nem hiszem, hogy egy erős ember volt, inkább csak szerencsés dobás. Nem, az, hogy erővel kell eldobni. És ez lenne a kérdés, hogy
These
ez
footprints appear to be quite large.
srácnak a cipője lehetne. Vagy ez egy cipője? Hát ez is.
This place is not covered. An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book. A box or a small chest, perhaps.
Az a kisláda hol lehet? Nem enged a kertbe be. Az első, ez itt nincs. Enged, mondom így.
Who could do such a thing?
It seems that the garden was well maintained. It seems that the garden was well
Most
maintained.
kicsit meg kezd bosszantani.
The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain.
A cipő egy kicsivel nem illeszkedik, és egy kicsivel nagyobb. Nem. Kell nézni, amíg a rendőrség. Van. Nézzük meg a rendőrséget. Semmi.
Mr. Holmes? At your service, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes?
Bizonyíték. A holttest, ezt tényleg le lehet venni. Ezt a... Hol tűnt a test? Fényesen felvesznek. Nem. De nem lett fel semmit csinálni. Nem lehet semmit csinálni. Tök érdekes. Na jó.
Locked. Locked.
Mr. Holmes?
What am I doing?
Nézzem már meg azt a cipőt közelebbről, nem igaz.
Locked.
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
Ezeket ugye nem lehet összekötni.
Good gracious, you caught someone. At least now you have a suspect.
Elég érdekes.
My analysis table. It is useful for my work. My analysis.
Ez igen.
This is where I keep my post.
Itt van. Azért.
Here it is. Now I begin to understand that young man's story, but I am still unclear as to what connects him with the murder. It is time to ask him. My archive. I can always...
Nem is tudtam, az újsággyűjteményből szerzett, igen, régen az volt ugye, hogy az újságokból tudnám híreket összerakni, valaki megörökölt valamit, vagy bármi, és akkor elmondta újság, ugye. Erre én sem gondoltam. Hogy ez milyen, hát akkor most kérdezem, hogy ezt a kis fiatalembe. Hogy is van az a gyűrűsdi?
I have heard the story of Dawson and Nelligan, the West Country bankers.
Yes, Joshua Nelligan was my father.
I am aware that it had a bad ending. When the bank failed, it ruined half the families of Cornwall, whereupon Joshua Nelligan disappeared.
My father was under extraordinary pressure. Dawson had retired. I was only 10 years of age at the time, but it was still old enough to feel the shame that befell our family. My father was convinced that he could pay off all his debts if the creditors gave him time. He set sail for Hammerfest in Norway in his small yacht, just a few days before an arrest warrant was issued. He left my mother a list of the securities he was taking. No word was ever heard from him again. We believe that his vessel went down, taking with it everyone and everything on board.
Thank you for the story, Mr. Nelligan. At last, we are making some progress. Interesting. Joshua Nelligan and Peter Carey were both at sea in Norway. There is definitely some connection between Peter Carey and Joshua Nelligan's disappearance.
What am I doing here? I've done...
Nézzük. Nincs. Nem tudom elolvasni.
These are the suspect's belongings. These abbreviations mean something, but what?
Szerintem vissza megint haza, és az újságok. Nézd. És tehát az van, hogy a hajóról kell, meg a izéről kell tudnunk valamit. Tudnunk. Még egyszer.
My archive. My archive. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Good gracious, you caught someone. At least...
Akkor nem, akkor tényleg vissza kell menni a hölgyhöz, és ott kell beszélni, és itt kell kérdezni. Jaj, de bonyolult ez a rész. Jussunk gyorsan a hölgyhöz.
Who could do...
Jajjá. Ó, nem. Vagy... A izé... Tényleg a hajókapitány is.
1883. That's the one I need. This is the crew list of the Sea Unicorn.
De sokat nem fogunk tudni, ezek csak nevek. Mester... Rövid a neve. Rövid a neve.
Log notes for June. Nothing unusual. Log notes for July. Nothing special. Log notes for August. These pages have been torn away.
The check.
Canadian Pacific Railway, CPR. There are 3 ways of discovering what happened in August of 1883 aboard the Sea Unicorn. The first 2 of these will require speaking with a dead man. The last would be to locate vital witnesses, the sailors involved in this whale hunt campaign.
Na, mi az újabb? Igen. Kell találni valakit az Unicorn teamből. Itt lehetne szerintem, csak azt se lehet nézni. Asztalról. Hát akkor vissza a izéba lakásra. De visszamenni, megnézzük az újságokat, meg megnézzük a... Nézzük, mit tudunk kutatni.
Something new, Watson. I have the list of sailors who were aboard the Sea Unicorn. We shall soon learn what happened to Nelligan's father. I have only to find them. Let us hope they're still working at the harbour.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard...
I doubt it, Watson. And really, I would prefer that all of this remains quiet for now. But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
And who might they be?
The secret police division of Baker Street.
Ah, you mean young Wiggins and his gang?
Yes. Believe me, you'll receive more useful assistance from these little urchins than from a dozen yard detectives. Those children are everywhere. They see and hear everything, and they are cunning. All they lack is organization. I'll summon them.
How will you do that?
There is always a watch beneath our window. I have only to call him.
Most... Mi mindig igaz. Black Street. Next, Baker Street, right? We have a Baker Street. Black Street, Forrester. Most az van, hogy kutatni kell.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My analysis table. Watson, I need Wiggins. Is he anywhere nearby?
He's right across the street. You can give him a sign from the window.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
Wiggins, I need you to track down certain people for me. I'll give you a list. You can read, can't you?
Big Oliver from our gang. He can, because his father is the coachman of a famous lawyer.
Fascinating. Here is the list of sailors.
Sailors? Easy. Just got to look where the rum and the red lights are.
Sorry to trouble you, Mr. Holmes, but the inspector asks that you come to the station as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'll be there shortly.
Akkor vissza a Scotland Yardhoz. És kérdezzünk.
Mr. Holmes, I'm glad to see you.
As always, what happened?
We have a new suspect, Liam Hurtley. I'm thinking that this case will be resolved very quickly now.
Interesting. Pray tell.
Well, the constable that I left at Woodman's Lee noticed a suspicious individual prowling around during the night.
Do you have him here?
Yes, he refuses to speak with us, but we'll make him talk.
Let us hope so.
Ah, yes, and one more thing. The constable told me that at the time of his arrest, the fellow was writing a letter.
Do you have it?
Of course. It's in the evidence room, at your disposal. Admit that for once, Mr. Holmes, Scotland Yard is a step ahead of you, eh?
Breathtaking.
What am I doing here? I've done nothing wrong.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I would like to ask you a few questions.
I've already told the police that I've nothing to say. And you're not even part of the police.
Precisely, and considering your situation, it might be wise to speak with someone who is, shall we say, rather more neutral. You are a suspect in a murder case.
I know. Inspector Lestrade told me. It's ridiculous.
Could you at least tell me who you are, and exactly what happened that you should be brought here?
My name is Liam Hurtley. That I can tell you. But you're not getting any more than that.
Well, we shall see.
Nézzük meg ezt a fiatalembert. Közelebbről. Ó.
That's all for now.
I'm not saying... I'm not saying...
What am I doing here? I've done nothing wrong.
Mr. Holmes?
I'm not saying another word.
Tehát...